Well, welcome back to Smart Life. I am so glad to have you with us. And with me now is a true friend of mine and a true crusader. She is one of those who risked everything to stand up for what she believed in. And it doesn't get a whole lot more rebellious than that. Welcome to the show, National Director of Politichicks.tv, Anne-Marie Morell. Happy to have you with us today. Tell us about the moment where you decided you had to rebel. You were inside Hollywood. You were an actor. You were getting all kinds of different roles and all kinds of different things. You had a very promising career, and you were seeing things in your world that weren't fitting in with a sort of lockstep attitude of your peers in Hollywood. And you knew that if you stepped out, it'd be all over. Tell us about that moment.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I stayed in step with them for a long time. It took 9/11 for me to see the light. So I was one of the bad guys for a long time. I was one. Somebody once said that it's like when you see a line of ants walking, you only see a line. The only ones you notice are the ones that are on the side.
Oh, right.
Of course, those are the ones that also get smushed first, that you like want to step on because they're like, get back in line. For me, when I came out and realized that I was not a Democrat and became a Republican, yeah, I lost almost all my friends, almost immediately. They were okay as long as I didn't say anything. But when I started speaking up and really going to town on their butts, then it changed.
So I mean, it really is a form of rebellion, and I think most people would look at, you know, conservatism versus liberalism and say, well, it's the liberals that are rebellious.
No.
But you say no. Why is that?
No, not anymore. It may have been at one point in time, but not anymore. But now we are the rebels. We've got our own little underground movement. We almost have to give hand signals to say, are you a conservative? And then when you are, you're so happy. When you meet someone in line at Starbucks and you hear code words, it's like a little tiny thing, and you're like, oh, you're one of us. And then it's really, it's kind of cool.
But the secretiveness, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because there is a lot of secretiveness I've noticed amongst the whole conservative movement at this point. And it's not to be secretive, it's because you do endure such wrath in a society. You are immediately labeled a racist, a sexist, a homophobe,
Islamophobe,
and nobody wants to be called all of those things.
Right.
And the reality is, I've met a lot of conservatives, I've met a lot of liberals, and I always tell this. My husband one time was in a committee dinner with a bunch of lefties that were big union activists. That's who they were. And the union, you know, heads, you know, these people were powerful in the legislature, and they were using words I had never heard. I literally had to ask them to translate because the slang was so racist for all kinds of groups of people that I had never heard in my life. And it wasn't a child. This is not that long ago. And that was that side. I had never heard words like that in conservative circles. So why do you think it is that there is this name-calling going on between perfectly grown adults? Certainly there are rational people on both sides. Why this name-calling, and why do they get away with it when you're talking about a conservative, but not when you're talking about a liberal?
Because that's the way it's been for decades. We were the silent majority, and I swear, the name silent majority is what killed us. We stayed quiet. When they took over, when they did and said whatever they wanted to do, we were passive. We were like, okay, our legislators will take care of that. Our politicians, the people that we trusted our vote with, they'll handle things for us. And when they didn't, that's when we started speaking out. And now they're freaking out because they're not used to hearing our voices. But for most of us like us, I don't care anymore. They can call me whatever the hell they want. I do not care. I know what I am.
Exactly. And so in that rebellious phase where you already said you lost almost all of your friends.
Yeah.
What did that teach you?
All my liberal friends, yeah.
Right. What did that teach you that you took with you that helped you form the most powerful social media movement, really, in women's politics ever? I would say historically powerful movement, Politichicks.tv. How many members do you have? Tell us a little bit more about that. And of course, I'm one of you. I'm an anchor there, proudly so. But you know so much more about it because this has been your baby from the beginning. What about that experience helped you build it? And then tell us more about the organization.
Right now we have about 45 women across the United States. They are activists. They
Who are the leaders?
They're the leaders. They're writers.
There are hundreds of thousands
Oh, yeah.
all over the
Oh, yeah.
country and
Yeah.
even the world. I think there are some from other
Absolutely.
countries at this point who are supportive of what
Oh,
you're doing
yeah.
in America because they see what America needs right now.
We have viewers in Afghanistan, Politichick viewers. It's so weird. Yeah. But the thing is, these women didn't want to do what they're doing. I didn't want to do what I'm doing. I was so happy to never be in front of a camera and have to age. I hate this. I hate it. I was so happy when I left show business. I was glad when I didn't have to be judged anymore. And now I'm judged all the time. Somebody said I had bags under my eyes like Rodney Dangerfield. I don't care. Whatever. But these are women like me who didn't want to do this, but we felt compelled. We felt like we had to, and we had to speak out. We couldn't be silent anymore, and it didn't matter. It doesn't matter to any of us. What they say to us, what they do to us, we are the rebels. We're fine with that. I love it.
Yeah. No, I think that's really amazing, and I've told you this many times that you are one of the most transparent people that I've ever seen in media, and you are all over in media. You do all sorts of television and radio, and of course Politichick's TV interviews and all of that. But you are that transparent, and I think it comes out of a place where you were probably initially injured by those who wanted to say horrible things about you and whatever. But there comes a time where you sort of turn that. Explain that, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to step up. They're afraid. They're right where you were at that critical moment, and they're afraid to step up. And whatever their perspective, you and I both respect people, no matter what their view is, if they're willing to speak up, because it's all about the civil discourse that ultimately will result in the best things happening in this country and in this world. So talk about what it is, how you got that courage, and how you pivoted that to make it your friend instead of your foe.
Well, I think my training in the acting world helped me a lot, going on auditions and being criticized. When I was my youngest and most beautiful and thinnest, I was still being judged constantly. There was always something I wasn't. It was always just a little off. I was too tall, I was too short, I was too whatever. So I got a pretty thick skin about appearance then, even though it still just bothers me sometimes, because I don't care what anyone else looks like, so stop judging. Leave us alone. I mean, obviously I'm sensitive about that today, I guess. But you know what it is? When I really turned the corner, it was when I saw how intolerant they were. And I used to be one of them. I thought I was so tolerant, but then when I got on the other side and I was speaking out the same way I did when I was on that side, and then I was told, you know, shut up. I'm not your friend anymore. Block, delete, you know, not in real life. People, and in my own family, people who don't want me coming to their houses anymore. I mean, you get a thick skin. And when it gets to a certain point, this is my country I'm fighting for. I don't care what you think about me personally. I'm going to do what I feel like I have to do to save my country. It's a maternal thing, almost.
Yeah, I would say it probably is a maternal thing. That leads us to exactly what we're working on right now. We have a new project, you and I together, with our, of course, our other anchor, with Morgan Brittany, a new book called What Women Want, because we really do want the best for this country, despite what people will accuse us of, whatever names they're going to call us, whatever horrible things they're going to say. It really is about, you know, women having the courage to step up and say, this is what I want for the future of my children, my grandchildren, myself, my country, and that is really what pivoted you, really what pivoted me as well, and Morgan as well. Morgan, of course, from Dallas stardom and all the rest of it. And so when you boil it down to what women really do want, what are those key things that you've come to in your research?
We want our family to be safe. We want the freedom to worship our God in any way we want. We want the freedom to be able to speak out about all of those things and everything that we believe in and all of our principles without fear of retribution. And right now, it's this stupid war. People ask me that more than anything else. They're like, how are you going to combat the war on women? And I'm like, we're going to hold mirrors up to the people accusing us of these things. And they're going to have to account for their own actions. We know who we are. We're confident in that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to learn all that in this book.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be talking more about that book in the months to come, but it has been a fascinating journey to really just talk to women and just say, what do you want out of life? And why do you feel there's this war on you from people who don't mean to be igniting any kind of a war, certainly, and might even speak better to your values? And you say conservatism does speak better to women's values.
I think absolutely it does. I mean, when you're a conservative woman, you can pretty much be and say anything you want. We're kind of blessed that way, that we can, the other side can't. They can't be critical of anything within their own party. They're not allowed.
That's interesting.
Because that makes everyone question, okay, if you aren't sure about that, then you're not sure about this, and this.
Yeah, and that party, the other party, has really transformed. The Republican Party's done some transforming of its own, too.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, we'll fix it all up. Anyway, Anne-Marie, thank you so much for being with us today. Don't forget to go to politichicks.tv and find more of our work there. And all the great politics across the entire country. They will blow your mind.